From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. Long-range forecasters are keeping a steady eye on the equatorial Pacific and what could become a super El Niño event in the months ahead, raising the stakes for everything from summer rainfall patterns to global temperatures. AccuWeather forecasters say the odds of El Niño are increasing, with expectations pointing toward at least a moderate event and more likely a strong one that peaks late in the hurricane season into early winter. Impacts could begin to emerge as soon as this summer. El Niño occurs when sea surface temperatures rise at least a half degree Celsius above average across the central and eastern equatorial Pacific. AccuWeather long-range forecaster Paul Pastelak said the process is tied to weakening trade winds, which limits the upwelling of cooler water and allows surface waters to warm. The latest probabilities from NOAA's Climate Prediction Center indicate a 61% chance of El Niño developing this spring into early summer and a 25% chance of a very strong El Niño by the end of the year. A super or very strong El Niño is defined when those temperature anomalies exceed 2 degrees Celsius, a rare threshold reached only a handful of times since 1950. The most recent Super El Niño was during the winter of 2015-2016. Now, Pastelak said that the sea surface temperatures are quickly changing in the equatorial Pacific, so fast that this El Niño could begin in June, noting that most El Niño events typically begin in the fall. He added that tremendous warming of subsurface water temperatures across the central and eastern Pacific and warming waters stretching from near Hawaii to Baja California are helping fuel the potential for rapid strengthening. In the U.S., the pattern will begin to reshape the weather this summer. AccuWeather's Chad Merrill said that in the U.S., an El Niño pattern typically brings more rain to the Midwest and parts of the West during the summer. It will likely produce extended periods of dry weather from the Gulf Coast to the East Coast, but mixed in will be some heavy pockets of rain. That contrast can create challenges as some areas deal with prolonged dry stretches, while others see bursts of downpours that raise localized flooding concerns. The Mississippi Valley and the Midwest are expected to be among the wetter regions this summer, which could have important implications for agriculture. Merrill said that rainfall will likely be meaningful in the Corn Belt this summer, much lower risk for drought in the Midwest. Pastelak emphasized that El Niño itself is not a single storm, but a large-scale climate driver that can tilt the odds toward certain weather patterns. So El Niño is a cycle that contributes, like many other factors, to produce weather changes and sometimes extremes. By winter, the classic El Niño signal becomes more established, often strengthening the southern storm track and increasing moisture across large portions of the country. Merrill said in winter, El Niño tends to produce more rain than average from California across the southern tier of the U.S. and along the East Coast. Now, that rainfall could be beneficial for the West, where a snow drought is impacting water reservoirs, leading to water restrictions in some western states. A stronger El Niño can also raise the risk of impactful storms later in the year, with Pastelak saying that a strong to super El Niño can bring big storms to the West Coast and a strong southern storm track rich with moisture from the Gulf and the Atlantic to produce powerful East Coast storms. Now, the global temperature signal tied to El Niño may not peak immediately. While the pattern is expected to develop this year, the highest global temperatures linked to it would more likely occur next year. Off the West Coast, a marine heat wave that is separate from El Niño could further shape conditions, particularly in California, with the likelihood of more meaningful rain from a few East Pacific tropical storms as well. Those thunderstorms could carry some risks, though. The marine heat wave may also limit the number of early summer low clouds along the Southern California coast. While uncertainty remains in just how strong the event ultimately will become, confidence is increasing that El Niño will take hold. With impacts expected to begin this summer and evolve into winter, the developing pattern is already signaling a notable shift in weather across the United States and around the world. That's all for now. You can find regional forecasts and science-based articles at AccuWeather.com, and for your local forecast at your fingertips, download the free AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day, be weather aware, and I'll be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.